Hello, good morning everybody, good afternoon, good evening. Let's get started here. Just change a couple of things here on my end and we'll be good to go. There we go. Alright, you should be able to hear me quite alright right now. If you could just confirm, I'd appreciate it. There we go. Just a quick confirmation, guys, if you don't mind, just so we know we can get started. I'll get everything going in the meantime. There we go. Sound is good. Thank you so much, Tony. Really appreciate it. All right, guys. So today is January 11, 2021. My name is Bojan Petreski. Go by Bo. Easier to say and remember. We're doing the a live future session get together on our channel here, Trade with UFOs. Before we get started, just a brief disclaimer. The following videos, clips, and demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. TRADDICTIV provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all content used in this video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide, does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through a demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. All right, I'm seeing some familiar faces. Feel free to say hi in the chat, guys. Again, this is the chat is there for us to communicate together. Tony, how you doing? Good to see you. Frolian, Paul, good stuff, guys. All right, thank you for confirming that sound is good. Let's go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up TradeStation real quick here. As you very well know, it is our current platform of choice that we use. We're going to go ahead and open up our short-term time frames climate and see what we're working with today. I hope everybody, this is the first session in the new year, so I hope, that's a lot of it. Okay. Let me just go ahead and get that muted real quick. 1 second. All of them came up at the same time, which is kind of funky. There we go. Okay. Good stuff. All right. So, where was I? Yeah. So I hope everybody had a wonderful New Year. I hope you had a good holiday break, so to speak. I think from a trading perspective, volume is definitely supposed to be, I think we can see it's definitely kicking into high gear these past few days. Today, especially as well, some of it towards the end of the last week as well, we saw quite a bit of volume kick in. Markets moving up quite a bit. Now today, obviously, it's a bit of a red day across the board, except for gold, which again pulled back, the previous couple of weeks. So, that's kind of always the case. Typically speaking, those are, between, I would say from like the 20th of December to about the first week of January, just up until the first week into the second week of January. Volume's a little lighter just because, people are taking holidays, people are taking some time for themselves. If you've been following the crypto markets, of course, the crypto markets are just in a world of their own. They were just moving up and down and sideways throughout this entire time. But again, today we're going to be focusing on futures. And as you see, we have we have 3 different choices, depending on the volatility of them. Actually, I just realized I don't have, there we go. I'm trying to point at something, but nobody's seeing it. As you typically know, we're looking at 3 different time frames for the climates to give us permission, not just to trade, but just to even open up a chart, I would say. Obviously, if you want to do some of these preemptively, that's completely up to you. If you want to be a strict and a purist, you would say, okay, unless I have something where it's flashing and a confirmed climate, I promise not to even open up a chart. Okay, and if you're a veteran, maybe you're not as impacted by it. Maybe you just open up certain charts by default. But if you're just getting started, being even more strict with this stuff is very important. Mainly because when you open up a chart and you see movement in front of you, you notice a lot of this up and down sideways action, and you're like, holy cow, I'm missing out on all this action. Let's get in on this. Right? A veteran trader who's already in the right state of mind is not going to think that. But just in case, I would say if you're somewhere, if you're someone who still struggles seeing market movement and you think to yourself, wow, look how much I'm missing out on, I would definitely say, try to follow a stricter permission-based system like the one I'm doing right now, which is, I'm not even opening any of these charts because, I need the permission to open them. And as we see, we're going to get started with the 15-minute climate right here. We have the permission to open NQ and RTY, and interestingly enough, NQ is flashing for sensible short, while RTY is flashing for sensible long. So that means we have a bit of a mixed market direction. So let's go ahead and get both of those opened up real quick. So we got the NQ on the 15-minute. Where's NQ on the 15-minute and RTY also on the 15-minute time frame. All right, that was scary. Yeah, that was a lot of alerts at the same time, and given that TradesStation is very loud when it alerts you, so you don't miss out on things. It can come all at the same time. All right, so I got to change my couple of contracts here on these two. So we're going to go to RTYH21, and we're going to go to NQ821. And I know these, more or less I know them by heart, I would say. But if you want to know, hey, how come you know which contract to switch to? All you can do is just go to barchart.com and take a look, and you can just go to futures, most active and all, right here, futures, and then most active, all futures. And that'll give you the latest, the front contract, the most active contract where the most volume is. So that way you're trading on the most active contract. You want to trade on the most liquid contract. If you're doing futures spreads, taking the front and the back month and trying to make up the difference, that's a little bit more advanced stuff. But if you're trading the way we're going to be trading right now, which is just intraday stuff, you want to be on the most liquid and most latest contract in the month. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and freeze this, and I'm going to take a look at the few factors that we need to line up in order to be able to take a trade. So the first thing that we want to see is, as we saw earlier, this climate is indeed confirmed. It's the first confirmed down candle out of typically 5 on this 15-minute time frame on the NQ January contract. Or actually, this is the March contract. Or no, that is the January. 12,975.89 is the moving average on this 15-minute time frame, the moving average exponential, the 9 EMA, which needs to coincide, right? So these are the kind of the bigger picture, even though it's a 15-minute time frame. Obviously, we're doing some intraday trading today, so a 15-minute time frame is a big picture when we're looking at the 2-minute, the 987 share bar, and the 610 tick bar. These are the time frames that we're using to trade and to enter in these positions. So we're looking to enter in a short, right? Because we have a confirmed down climate. Now, where do we enter that climate? Well, that we get an answer by a couple of factors. The first factor that we look at is the moving average exponential, 12,975. Do we have a UFO at 12,975? And absolutely, that's basically 12,975 is gonna be somewhere around here. I would say between this. So this UFO will most likely qualify for an entry. Now, why am I not being so exact? Well, because if current price being at 12,967, if the NQ were to pop a little up, the moving average, which I'll put in a purple color here, right, which is about here, is also going to pop, right? So there's a good chance that these two will indeed meet up in this UFO here. So that is a potential entry UFO. Now, for those of you that have seen me trade before, you're gonna already know what I'm going to say next, right? If there's any of you that have been with me before in sessions, can you just let me know what I'm thinking already here, given the fact that we do have a collection of UFOs up here? If you don't mind, you can go ahead and type in the chat. If not, I'll just go ahead and proceed forward with it. In the meantime, I'm just going to release this just to see where price is going. All right, it is still moving a little down, so we're not in a hurry to get into this trade, obviously, because it's pushing quite a bit lower. But, you know, given the fact that our entry UFO would be this lower UFO here, right, and we see another collection of unfilled orders has shown up here, right? Another collection, and the market is just severely pushing lower and lower as of right now. You know, obviously there's quite a bit of movement going on. Let's take a look at here we go. We have another UFO that just developed over there in the 2-minute time frame. Okay, so things are looking quite fast right now, which is okay. Yep, exactly, Paul. Too much risk. Thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it, guys. Interaction makes this a lot more fun for me, and I think for you, as it is, you know, much easier to understand how some of these concepts are. The more you kind of put them to practice and you know, try to communicate them with others. I remember one time I was trying to teach my wife how to trade, and you know, certain things just are engraved in your brain so much that you don't even think about it when you look at some of these charts. But it's not until you teach somebody else or you say some of these things out loud, they're like, hey, you know, let me think about this for a minute now. Okay? So yeah, exactly what Paul said. There's too much risk. Now, what is too much risk? How do we determine too much risk? So as of right now, even though this market is moving rapidly down, it could easily pull back just as rapidly, right? Our potential entry would be over here at, you know, 12,978, right? So if this market were to pop back up, it could easily be somewhere around this 12,982, somewhere around this area. Most importantly, it'll be within this UFO. Now, the way we, you know, that's, you know, we're found our entry. That's where we're going into this trade, right? But what's also important? It's also important where our target profit is and where our stop loss is. And the way we place our stop loss is, if we're going short, it has to be above our entry UFO in white space, meaning our stop cannot be in another UFO, which in this scenario, our stop will be inside this UFO here. So what does that mean? Well, if this was a kind of a shorter UFO, meaning it is not as wide, right, from 12,990 to 13,003, right, we're talking 13 points on the NQ, right? If that wasn't the case, if this was a smaller UFO, then we could have put the stop up there. However, because we have such a wide UFO above, we cannot put our stop there, because that just eliminates our safety factor, our safety target. It means that within, you know, we are expecting the market within a certain period of time, which we're going to go over in a bit, as long as we enter a trade. If that's our stop up there, I'm just going to make it red, right? If that's our stop up there and our entry is at more aggressive entry down here, or perhaps a little less aggressive entry here within the collection of unfilled orders, that means this entire distance over here, right? This entire distance from here to here, or from here to here, needs to be covered with a safety target, meaning we're expecting the market to move a certain amount quickly enough that we can capture our safety target, so we can take half the position off, so we can be safe, right? That's the point of having a safety target. However, when you put such a substantial amount here and expecting the market to move in that amount that quickly, you know, I think that's no longer a safety target. Then it becomes a profit target, meaning if it gets there, it gets there. But if it doesn't, then you're not safe. And our job here is to manage our risk, to be safe when trading, not to be, you know, the most aggressive that we can be. You know, we got to let our plan decide what our action is. The reason why I also kind of wanted to spend a little bit more time explaining that is because of the following, right? Every 15 minutes, we get an update on the climate. Since the market moved down rapidly, right, we see that the moving average changed with it. So now the moving average at 12,964, that's within this UFO. That's at the top of this UFO. And that is still within this UFO. However, this UFO stop is 8150, right? Now, does that still fall within this UFO? Yes, it does. So what does that mean? Now we increase the trade even more, the risk of the trade even more. Now, our entry, our valid entry would be somewhere around this, 12,960 area, and our stop would have to be above the 1303. So it would be about 13,004. That's just not a trade that I would entertain with my account. I would, obviously you're free to do whatever you want to do with your account, but I would definitely not entertain it with mine. Let's take a look and see what's going on with RTY. Interestingly enough, since we opened it up, RTY did have this pretty big bounce up, almost inverse to the NQ, which, it's rare to see, but we have seen some of the mid caps move a little stronger than some of the tech stocks, which are more heavily represented in the NASDAQ than in the Russell. So, but however, unfortunately, our climate is unconfirmed. So realistically speaking, because the climate is unconfirmed, we can go ahead and close this workspace. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look and see if there's anything else that is sensible that we would like to see. And here we are. We actually have the ES. Let's see if the ES will have a bit of a different scenario than the NQ. The train has left the station. That's okay. The train a lot of times will leave the station without you. And I don't understand why. I'm trading the ES daily. I don't know why it's not. Maybe I didn't save my workspaces, or did they overwrite? I don't know. Anyways, here we are. Okay, so kind of the same scenario, guys. Interestingly enough, though, look at that. It's hitting this UFO. So the entry is right here, right? It's hitting the UFO. The entry is right here. It's 37.95 is the entry. But unfortunately, the same thing as with the NQ, we have a collection of UFOs not allowing us to take advantage of this move because of the fact that we need to be we need to follow our plan to the T. Could you just go in and sell it at market right here? Absolutely, you could do whatever you want to do. But if we were to follow our plan, if we were to follow our strategy, our back-tested logic, right now is just not the right time to enter. And that's okay. Sitting on your hands is a form of trading. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. All right? I'm just going to open a couple of more of these at the same time. See, look at that. We actually have them even on the 240-minute time frames giving us entries. I'm just going to go ahead and open the yen on the 60-minute time frame here just to see what kind of information we're working with on the yen. No, I think it was the 60, not the 240. I believe it was the 60-minute climate that was giving us an entry. Yep. Yes, it's the 60-minute, so we're going to go ahead and close the 240-minute. So workspace, open workspace. We have JY60. All right. Okay. As soon as possible. There we go. All right, 60-minute time frame on the yen. Okay, we do have a collection here. However, this is gonna be. All right, let me, because the yen has just too many freaking too many digits back there. I can't do that math that quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to JY. Wait, not in crypto. JYF. Oh, I'm sorry. Is the yen? No, it's not on the. It's not on the January. So we are in January. Yeah, we should be on. Yep, it's on the March, like I thought. Why is it showing the first one? 6JH. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna take a look here on the yen. I'm just gonna, this is the same stuff as my TradeStation. Obviously, I just want to see what kind of a risk we're gonna be looking at if we were to take a trade on the yen futures. So let me just get rid of some of this stuff here. I know why. I was testing out some stuff here. That's why it didn't override my it's okay. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. So our potential entry, right? We're looking at 96,008, right? So 96,008, I believe, meets the criteria here. Oh boy. Never mind. We're missing it by a couple of ticks. I thought it was gonna actually meet entry here. Let me just double check. And the bottom is 96,030. 85. So if this were to pop, I think it's gonna just make it, I believe. I could be wrong though. It's a little too close to tell, but assuming that it does, right? Assuming that it does, let's see what kind of risk we're working with and what kind of situation it is here. You know what, the more I look at this, the less I like it, mainly because of the following, right? Currently, we're on the 5th hourly out of typically 6 down on the yen futures, right? We're seeing that it's 6, it's been going down for 6 hours, and the typical amount of hours that it goes down for is 6, so it's on the 5th one into the 6th one for half an hour. We might just make this here. This right here, the UFO, the bottom at 96,030 would be our entry. Let's just assume that somehow this is going to make it there. Let's see if what our entry would be, as I said right here at 96.30. Our stop would be basically above this one here, right? Because they overlap. And for currencies, I typically like to give it 2 ticks as opposed to just 1, as with the other ones, the regular the majors, for example, with the ES or NQ. So our entry will be at 96,030. Our stop will be at 96,195. Let's see what kind of risk to reward ratio that would be over here with TradingView, because it's just a lot easier to calculate. So the entry to be at 96,030, and we're gonna do take loss and stop, and the stop is going to be at 0.96195. Okay, 195. So that's 37 bucks of risk. Is that right? That doesn't. No, that's why I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. So we're gonna sell at 96.3, and we're gonna get out at 96,195. Okay, so that's $200 per contract risk. So with my account, I would not be taking this. However, you could take it on the micros. It's just that it is very, very light volume, especially on the yen. I personally have experienced the volume. You could get quite a bit of slippage, and then it's just ultimately not going to work out. If this is a risk amount that you're okay with, this is a trade that would most likely meet the criteria of entry if it were to pop back up. The reason why I say most likely is because, we need to make sure this moving average lines up with 96,030. Okay, so that's the key point here. It's just at the edge of it. So and the fact that it's at the end of its climate, it's still acceptable to go into this trade. But again, this is we're on the 5th hour out of 6, and that hour being another 30 minutes. So this is most likely not going to work out for us. But if this does pop back up, you know what I'll do? I'll just set up a quick alert here. just to see what's going to happen, okay? Just to see if it will meet the criteria. I mean, if it pops back up and it's a little higher, then we'll just have a better fill if we're taking this trade, the stop being there. So let's move back to our 15-minute time frame. So sensible, the NQ has popped quite a bit higher. Let's take a look. Yep, there we are. See, we do see that kind of an aggressive movement. We saw it. It actually, not only did it eliminate the red UFO here, but it actually went through it, and now it's currently trading above the moving average. So that's what I mean when I say taking excessive risk, right? If you had taken this trade somewhere around this 60, I think it was like 65-ish area, right? You'd be in the red right now. You'd still be in the trade. Okay, you'd still be in the trade because your stop would be all the way up here at 1304 or something like that, right? But it's an excessive risk that you're taking, you know, to make a trade. Now, imagine this, right? You're looking at this distance here from 04 to 65. That's over 40 points. So you would need to be down here in the 20s just to make your safety target work. You know, and that's below these lows, below all these UFOs. You know, could it go down? Absolutely. Is there a high probability of that happening? I would say as of right now, there's too much sideways action. Sit on your hands, save your money. As I always tell people that ask me, like, you know, hey, do you get paid to do you get paid? Do you make money by just being into trades? Are these futures trade paid dividends? No, they do not. Right? You get paid by being right. So let's make sure we save our money and make sure we're on the right side of these trades before we execute them. All right, we already spoke about JY. We're leaving it alone for now. Gold is showing a sensible long, but it's an unconfirmed climate. Can't open that. So it looks like we're going to go into the 240-minute time frames on the NQ and RTY. All right. And while I open these guys, just let me know in the chat, guys. How's it going? Let me know if I'm going too fast, too slow, okay. Any comments, anything you want to say, you know, feel free to type it. This is futures trading, short-term futures trading. So we do have to go, you know, a little bit faster when we're analyzing. I'm like, wait a minute, what am I waiting for here? When we're analyzing these, so it's just a matter of, you know, making sure that we're looking at them properly, and again that we're managing our risk, that we're not just you know, throwing trades out there just for the sake of, hey, you know, we put a trade there. All right. QH21. All right, so. Oh my God. Wow, isn't that picture worth 1,000 words, right? Look at that. It would have been a really nice trade if these UFOs were just not here, or not even just this UFO. Would have been such a nice trade, right? Look at that, coming in close. You got overlapping UFOs on both of these time frames. Looking great for an entry point. First down candle climate out of typically 4. This is 4 times 4 hours, right? So it'll be looking like a great trade to get in. Not a ton of risk when you look at the fact that this is a 6,700 share bar, right? A 10-point risk on this large of a trade is not bad at all. If that's too much for your account, you can always take it with the micros, and with the micros you can play around with it quite a bit. You know, instead of maybe 2, you go in with 4 micros to make it worth your while, and so on. Paul, yeah, I do trade Forex as well. Yes, I do. That's why, you know, this same workspace kind of digs into both the Forex side of things as well as the 240-minute climates. I'm not showing it currently on YouTube as of right now, mainly because my counterparts like Pedro and Opa, who else does Forex? I think just Pedro and Opa do they show it, but they're, you know, quite a bit more intense when it comes to Forex. They're quite more familiar with it too. I traded myself on my own too, but as for the session right now, we're just going to focus on futures. So I hope that's okay. Definitely tune in. I mean, if you don't know already, if you go to tradewithufos.com and you go to the live get together up here, you're going to see the calendar of everything that we got going on. Yeah, actually, Becky does Forex too, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So yeah, so Bert or Opa, Pedro, Bert, Becky, and Andrew, but I thought Andrew only did, actually he does, yeah. So they focus quite intensely on Forex as well. Myself, Pedro, and Jose are doing the futures aspect of it. So guys, this is a very interactive calendar. You can add it to your calendar as well, so it gives you reminders, so definitely check it out. All right. Hey Mark, good morning. Good to see you. Long time. Hope to catch up with you later if you have some time. It's been a while. We could say we haven't spoken since last year. Okay. Let's see. We just received an update on the climates. Things changed, but unfortunately, if anything, the market told us to sit on our hands some more. So, yeah. Look at that. NQ changed to a sensible long. Climate is unconfirmed. So realistically speaking, we can alleviate some firepower in our computer by just closing the workspace. The ES on the 15-minute time frame became unconfirmed. Remained sensible, but became unconfirmed. Okay, we can close that as well. On the yen, on the 60-minute, here we go. We popped in there. Right, and look at that. The climate actually did not make it, so this would not have qualified. You see that? Sorry, didn't mean to cross it off. 96.18 is what the moving average is telling us. Price is currently into this 96.030, which we said is our entry. However, this did not meet that criteria by just, if you were to round this up to 96.02, just by 2 ticks. It did not meet the criteria of entry. Right, 2 ticks, you might think, 2 ticks, that's a tolerance, I'll take it. That's entirely up to you. I like to be 1000% strict. So the stricter that I am, the better that I feel, even if I win or even if I lose. Just because I know I followed my plan to the T. This is now an unconfirmed climate. Wait a minute. Why is this? No, it's still a confirmed climate. I'm sorry. It's just into the climate right now. So that's incorrect. The climate is still confirmed. Price did go into the UFO. However, it did not meet the moving average criteria. Therefore, we can leave this open. We have permission to leave it open just in case some other things develop. But as of right now, we're not going to be taking this trade. Okay, so as of right now, that's a no trade. On the 240-minute, as we said, the risk would just be extensively large. I mean, we're talking, if we were to take this entry over here at 12,987, right, which would coincide nice with the moving average, our stop would have to be, 100 some points above. Okay, and that's just, I don't have that kind of an account size. If you do, go ahead with it. But I would say don't even go ahead with it, even if you had the account size for that. So this is still confirmed. I don't see this changing anytime soon. Obviously, this is a 240-minute time frame. We're going to go ahead and get that closed as well and see if we have anything else that we can take a look at. So what do we have here? Everything's kind of hopeful. So sensible longs all across the board here. Now, that's a 60-minute time frame, so obviously we won't have an update on this climate until, 25 minutes from now. So unfortunately, nothing to do there. So guys, a lot of movement, but again, it's and you saw it. You saw it yourself, especially on the NQ. The train left the station, but it was almost like a Japanese bullet train that it came back up and exceeded the location of entry where we were initially looking at, right? And that's why sometimes you need to kind of wait for things to play out and then get on board, because it looked like that train was a one-way ticket return. Okay, you got on the train, it almost went to your destination just to get you back in where you began, where you got on board. Okay, just to use that train analysis right there, that Tony gave us. So yeah, we're looking a bit slow right now, which is okay. Just since I technically have permission here, because it's a near sensible long on GC, I do want to see what's going on with it on the 60-minute time frame, just to see what's going on with gold. Similarly, I'm just going to take a look at the most active for the metals and take a look and see. So we're on the February, so it's GCG21. So we're on the February GCG21. Okay. Just to see if by any chance we're going to have any sort of closeness here, but I don't see it here. You see, it's literally right on the moving average. There are no UFOs here. It's testing the lows over here that it's making, testing these lows down here, and it's exceeding them. Already exceeding the 8-minute time frame lows from earlier in this kind of a, I guess, channel, if we want to call it here, right? So nothing really particularly of interest here. If by any chance gold stops here and just reverses upwards and creates new unfilled orders, then we may be able to kind of get on board. But as of right now, we're just looking at this and just letting it work itself out. Mondays are usually that type of day too, I have to admit. Sometimes you get immediate kind of an impulse direction into one way. You can get on board and capture some of that movement, make some money. Sometimes the market, for people, selling from the previous week, people getting on board for the current week, and so on. It takes a little bit of time to get some directionality out of the market. So yeah, here we go, and here it is. It's testing that area again on the yen, 25 into 30, but again the moving average is just not allowing us to get into this trade. And not only that, but look at that, a new UFO, an opposing UFO on the tick bar has been created, meaning there are some unfilled orders here that need to be filled. So as of right now, again, still no trade on the yen. We're going to leave it alone. All right, focusing a little bit more on the chat. Again, guys, I see, yep, thank you, no problem, Paul. If anybody has any other questions or any comments, feel free to drop them in, guys. Obviously, on a slower day, we can kind of spend some time to chit-chat. Even if you have some questions that are maybe, I would be more than glad to help you out with. I just realized that we do have an RTY sensible long, but I never opened that. Hold on a second here. Maybe we missed something. RTY. Oh, I don't have the 240-minute time frame set up on it. All right, let's go ahead and make one up. 2RTY 240. There we go. And I'm actually gonna go on here, and I'm gonna pull up what I showed you guys earlier. So if you have any questions, if you're watching this recorded, for example, you can always go to tradewithufos/Bojan and ask me a question here and take a look. Because here are some of the questions that were answered, and you see there's 2 votes, there's 2 answers, time frames, different charts, answers, everything's answered. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask them. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up, I think it was this one that had the question. Yep, here we go. And if you just go to this link, open this link in a new tab, and here are the time frames. And how do we find what do we need? Well, I just said, hey, we don't have RTY on the 240-minute time frame. So here we go, 240-minute time frame. So that's not what I meant to do. That's what I wanted to do. 240-minute time frame. So here we go. This is it. Right? That's RTY that we're looking at. and we're looking at the 240-minute time frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this to my other screen, and I'm going to just edit this to make this the 20. First, I'm going to change the RTYH21. Right, so we have the most current data. And now what I'm going to do is over here, I'm just going to put 21. So it changes to 21 minutes. Over here for the 610 share bar, as we said, we're going to open up the 5097 share bar. And over here on the tick bar, we're going to open 987. Now, if you use or if you don't use the reactive time frames, that's okay. I'm going to load them up here anyway. 377 on the shares and 233 on the ticks. And of course, the most important one down here, we got to change this to 240 minutes. Okay. And that's that. We're going to go ahead and click save this workspace so we don't lose it again. Let's see if we do have something here. And it looks like it just touched this, UFO over here. 55. Okay, wow, that's actually 79. That's what it is. So yeah, the moving average is all the way up here at 79. So that's nowhere near our UFO here. You see that 2079 is the moving average. 2079 being around here somewhere. Obviously our nearest UFO is up here at 2076. So anticipatory movement is not going to work out here. If RTY were to drop down to 2079, do we anticipate the moving average to drop further down? The answer is yes. But is it going to drop all the way down to 2076? I would say no. So that's that. Unfortunately, we have RTY loaded. We put together the workspace just like we were supposed to. But unfortunately, we do not have a trade on it. We can leave it open to see if any new UFOs form around this area. If this were to pop up, maybe if something like this were to happen, then perhaps maybe a new UFO were to form like somewhere around here, right? Then we may have a trade to enter into there if it were to retrace back down. But as of right now, we do not have a trade. Okay, guys, before I let you go for a couple of, in a few minutes here, I do want to see if there's going to be an update on the climates, because again, we spent about 45 minutes or so far looking at the markets. We didn't have any trades, unfortunately. I do want to get the updated climates right now in about a minute from now, just to see if there's at least something that we can put on. Because as you see, as of right now, we simply don't have any trades. We're definitely not in the business of forcing trades either. So, see, here we go. Look at that. As I was talking about JY, over here it also created some unfilled orders. This UFO did get filled and it is moving higher. So this could easily reverse directions right now. And that's kind of a known thing, right? You see the climate is at the end. It is kind of a known thing to say, okay, well, it's at the end of the climate. There's a good chance that it'll either go unconfirmed or reverse at the end of the climate. So that's kind of a normal thing. Yeah, guys, I see quite a bit of you still watching this, but I don't see a whole lot of activity in the chat. Please feel free to just type, hey, things are good or things are okay. Let me know how we're looking, okay? Wow, we did get an update on the climate and everything is still unconfirmed, okay? Guys, you can't make this stuff up. Sometimes you look at it and you look away and then boom, the trade's there and you missed it. And sometimes you look at it intently, just like we are right now for these past 45 minutes. And nothing is presenting itself in front of us. That's okay. As I said earlier, we don't get paid just to put trades on. We get paid, we make money, we profit from being right on our trades. Right now, we're not gonna force anything to happen. even just for instructional purposes only, that we're just simply not going to be forcing anything. One thing that I did just notice, looks like crude oil on the 60-minute is actually a sensible. I don't know if this was here before, and natural gas. So I'm just going to look at these two before I let you go, see if we have anything, and if we don't, then unfortunately that's that for me. But obviously, you know, you can always have this pulled up in front of you to take a look at. Oh, I just got an alert pop up from TradeStation for crude oil. So did we get an alert on any of these two? Let's take a look. Oh no, that wasn't that. Crude oil is near hopeful long on the 15-minute. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Before we do that, let's go back to bar chart. Let's take a look at the energies. And I have an account. I don't know why it's not logged in. Yeah, so CLG is good still. NGG21 is what we need to change. So at NGG21. Okay. Let's see how we're looking here on these two. Beginning of the climate on this one. Beginning of the climate on this one too. Let's let me just reset my range here. Oh, that's strange. There we are. Okay, 52, 51.91, 51.86, 51.82. Current price is 52.08. So do we see, if price were to drop about 20 something cents, do we see it meeting this UFO down below at 51.85? I think it's possible. I think it's possible. 51.85, this to drop to 85, if this were to drop into the 85s. Yeah, this is a pretty wide, I mean, again, we're on an hourly chart, so hourly charts are always going to be a little bit wider. You know, looking at this, so basically 85, our stop would have to be below 68, so let's call it 67. So that's 18, that's 180 bucks per contract. But let me just see here. Yep, that meets the criteria. So this UFO would meet the criteria. Do we have anything above here? Nothing that I'm seeing as of right now. So that would be a trail stop. So this trade would, if we were to frame it out, it would look something like this. With the stop at 67. So we're looking at, you know, 8 ticks below from what the setup here is showing, 67. So 8 ticks above would be 03 with a no final target. We would trail stop it. So it would, okay, wait a minute, did I do that wrong? Yep, there it is again. That's why I'm like, I thought it was going to be inside here, but I looked at it and I saw 74. I thought, okay, it's 77. Yeah, see, a very similar situation here. It's just one of those days, guys, right? That this would have to go all the way down here. And now we're looking at, you know, an excessive amount of risk. We're looking at 85 minus 57. That's 280 bucks per contract. In the infamous words of our president, it is what it is. It really is what it is today. Unfortunately, we're not going to have any trades. I tried to make something happen, but of course you can't make something out of nothing. If the market gives you opportunity, you take it. If it doesn't, you take it. You know, and by you take it, I mean you take it the way it's being given to you. If there's no opportunities, there's no trades to be taken. All right, 639 is the last one we're going to look at. 39 is within this UFO here at the top. That's an overlap there. So this would be an entry up here at 39 even, just like the moving average is showing. And then we're looking at 19, so about a 20 tick stop on natural gas. That's just about at the precipice of where I would be okay with taking it. 19, so 26.19 is below these UFOs, below those UFOs, so that could qualify as a good trade. Let's go ahead and put it on and see how it looks. 39 is right there, and we said we're looking at 19 being our stop, so that's a 20 tick stop. Yeah, see that one's looking okay. Just to take a look, see if there's anything above. Does not look like there's anything above, at least on the loaded data. I'm looking, should be about 500 bars back. So 500 hours back, we don't have anything. We could, if we load some more data, that'll take a bit of time. So this could be a trade that could potentially work out here. Obviously, T1 would need to be also 20 ticks above, so this would be at 59. So that's something that could potentially work. Again, at 20 tick, oh, sorry about that. That's my little one in the background already calling for me. So guys, that's pretty much it for now. We're gonna have to leave it the way it is. Please, if anything, I would say make sure it does meet the criteria when it does enter in this UFO, if it does, and then go from there. It's been my absolute pleasure to present this session for you guys and gals. Please feel free to contact me over at Bojan@TRADDICTIV.com. That is my email. Oh, there it is. I'm just looking for it. Bojan@TRADDICTIV.com. And of course, the link here, tradewithufos.com/Bojan. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And I hope to see you soon in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much.